Jay-Z new video with Nas and DJ Khaled is a scene where it's checkerboards. These are all occult Satan.
I don't get no what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me.
And we may actually see one of the biggest divorces in Hollywood is because Jay-Z is up next to be exposed.
It was the kind of courtroom twist nobody saw coming, and when that gavel slammed, the shockwaves tore through the music world like thunder. Vermeer, the man who spent years shouting from the shadows that he's Jay-Z's secret son, didn't just win his case. He walked out holding a victory so wild it feels ripped out of an alternate reality. $1.6 billion. Not a backroom deal, not hush-hush money, a full legal judgment that could slice right through the Rock Nation empire like a blade through silk. Tour money, streaming checks, corporate stakes, all of it suddenly looks fragile.
I think that they don't want, if they was in any of those freak-off tapes, if they played a part in any of those Diddy sessions, they don't want it to get out to the general public to make up their...
And insiders whisper that Beyoncé, the queen of flawlessness herself, is pacing marble floors in what's being described as controlled chaos. For years, Jay-Z danced around DNA tests, ducking, dodging, brushing off the accusations like they were nothing but noise. He built an image of untouchable power, untouchable money, untouchable legacy. But this isn't noise anymore. This is a reckoning. With $1.6 billion hanging over his head, the numbers don't lie. Even for a billionaire, that's no pocket change. That kind of payout could shatter everything, force him to sell off assets, rip apart brand deals, make once loyal investors scatter like smoke.
I have no felonies, I'm not crazy or none of that. It's like, I just want the truth, and it's so hard to get it from the courts. And it seems like Jay-Z don't want to say anything, so, you know, I don't want to see him go down for something that, you could have just got taken care of. That's it.
The clock is ticking, and every single hour without a clean resolution drags Jay's name deeper into the mud. And while the legal fire burns, the real drama may be inside the Carter home. Beyoncé, the woman who's mastered the art of perfection in every move, every performance, every deal, now finds her marriage playing out like a public battleground. Sources claim she's already delivered a fierce ultimatum behind closed doors. And if that's true, the cracks in this royal empire are no longer whispers, they're earthquakes. Jay-Z is staring down two brutal choices: settle this disaster before it detonates his empire, or watch Beyoncé reevaluate the very ground their marriage stands on. And think about it. She's weathered storms before.
A lot of potential. Jay was more quiet. But I mean, I learned that Jay was being quiet because he was taking notes. He was taking notes, observing everything, taking it all in, because, sometimes you're around and you're watching to see things to do. But some people are around.
But this isn't just some messy rumor splashed on gossip blogs. This is a billion-dollar courtroom humiliation, stamped and sealed by the law, rooted in allegations that reach all the way back to when Rhymes' mother was underage. How do you flip that into a tour promo? How do you shield 3 kids when their classmates are bound to see headlines about their father owing $1.6 billion for a secret child? You can't. That's the nightmare playing out in real time. Behind the scenes, whispers are swirling louder than ever. Industry insiders claim quiet calls are being made to elite divorce attorneys. Discreet consultations, they say, but serious enough to keep the rumor mill spinning at full speed. Once those conversations start, they don't just vanish, they fester. And every single delay Jay-Z's lawyers push in court is more time Beyoncé loses control of the story.
There are people who did short sales on their stocks right after that, made a lot of money, including Sean Carter. Now I'm going to ask you, why would non-disclosure agreements need to be signed for an accident?
Her inner circle is already worried the brand damage is creeping in. Luxury partners are said to be side-eyeing deals. Endorsement talks have been put on pause. And in Beyoncé's world, optics are everything. Right now, those optics are straight up toxic and the cracks are showing. But here's the kicker. Rhyme's victory isn't just about him. It could embolden others to step out of the shadows. One name already bubbling back into the gossip bloodstream, Letitia McSear, the Maryland woman who's been claiming for years that she too is Jay-Z's daughter. If her voice gains momentum, this could snowball into something even Beyoncé can't choreograph her way out of. Letitia's story has floated around for years, brushed off in public, ignored by Jay-Z, but after Vermeer's courtroom win, suddenly, the impossible doesn't feel so impossible anymore. Sources close to her say her camp is buzzing with fresh confidence, and that could be dangerous. She's already spoken out before, painting a picture of growing up in a small town where, in her words, everybody knew Jay-Z was my father.
Beyonce for sure. I love her. I love Beyonce. Jay-Z too, I really admire the both of them.
She's talked about her mother's battles with serious illness and about stepping into a caretaker role, raising her own siblings while carrying that secret. If she decides to revive her case now, Jay-Z isn't just looking at one courtroom fire. He's staring down two massive paternity wars at once. That's the kind of chain reaction no spin doctor in the world can control, and the whispers don't stop there. A former friend claims Jay-Z once bought Letitia a house in Cambridge, Maryland, and even covered her bills. But under one strict rule, she couldn't put his photo up anywhere. That kind of allegation is explosive, especially now. Jay-Z has never addressed it. But after Vermeer's billion-dollar victory, his silence could look less like confidence and more like guilt.
This morning, rap mogul Jay-Z is denying allegations he assaulted a 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs. That civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay-Z. The accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she was assaulted by both men.
What happens if Letitia comes forward with fresh evidence? People in her circle insist she has more receipts, and if that's true, the narrative could flip overnight. From Jay-Z, the reluctant father, to Jay-Z, the serial denier. That label wouldn't just stain his reputation at home. It would bleed into his empire, his business deals, his carefully curated image as a role model and mogul. And make no mistake, the empire is fragile. Rock Nation, Tidal, Dust Cognac. All of it is built on the illusion of control, credibility, and influence. Strip that away, and suddenly Jay-Z isn't the kingpin of power. He's the weak link. And when corporate sharks smell uncertainty, they don't hesitate, they attack.
I know so much on how you got where you are, how you stepped on many people.
Every fresh headline tying Jay-Z to past allegations, especially ones hinting at underage relationships, is carving away at the trust big brands once had in him. And the fallout doesn't stop at him. Beyoncé's situation is even more dangerous because she's not just his wife. She's a global brand on her own. Her tours move entire economies. Her name sells out stadiums, fragrances, fashion lines, even films. Now picture the trap she's caught in. If she keeps standing by him during a courtroom meltdown, she risks bleeding brand value just by being linked to the chaos. But if she walks away at the wrong moment, critics could flip the script and call her cold, accusing her of abandoning him in crisis. That's the razor's edge she's walking right now. And whispers say her patience is thinning fast. And here's where it gets lethal. The personal and the professional are colliding in real time. Imagine if both Vermeer and Letitia end up fighting their cases in court at the same time. Imagine if the claims overlap. If witnesses start crawling out of the shadows with new stories, if receipts begin dropping online.
Oh, no, was it. No, when I get nervous, I tell the truth.
And then picture Beyoncé, tired of being side-eyed at every gala, every premiere, every press stop, quietly mapping out an exit plan behind the scenes. The couple once sold as untouchable, the blueprint of power and perfection in music, could crumble into a cautionary tale quicker than anyone ever thought possible. And looming over all of this is a creeping sense of inevitability. For years, Jay-Z locked up certain chapters of his past behind airtight legal walls and relentless defense strategies. But walls can crack, and when they do, the flood doesn't ask permission before it rushes in. Courts don't bow to celebrity mystique the way fans do. And Vermeer's billion-dollar win already proved Jay-Z's armor can crack wide open. Now the question is chilling. What happens if the next hit lands before he even recovers from this one? The fallout wouldn't just change Jay-Z's life, it could reshape the entire blueprint of hip-hop's most powerful empire. The numbers alone are terrifying. $1.6 billion isn't just a court judgment. It's a wrecking ball swinging straight at the foundation of Roc Nation itself. The artist roster, the sports management arm, the publishing deals, every branch of the empire now sits under a storm cloud so dark that even Jay-Z's most loyal business partners are whispering about their escape routes. If he's forced to pay in full, brace yourself, because we could be looking at a fire sale of assets. His streaming stake and title? Gone. His luxury beverage empire? Up for grabs. Each sold off piece by piece, likely for pennies on the dollar, just to hold back the wolves circling outside. And the optics, brutal.
What's up, what's up? This is Beyonce on the red carpet with one of the hottest female artists out here, Miss Aaliyah. How you doing, girl?
It's so good to see you.
A mogul once worshipped as untouchable, reduced to scrambling for cash. In a world where confidence is currency, the scent of panic is enough to trigger a chain reaction that can sink entire ventures overnight. And guess what? Those whispers have already begun. Behind closed doors, investors are calling emergency meetings. Anxious marketing teams are reportedly scrubbing Jay-Z's face from upcoming campaigns. And one luxury brand has quietly slammed the brakes on a joint rollout until further notice. At this point, it's no longer about guilt or innocence. It's about association. And in the entertainment industry, association is everything. The scary truth, the longer this billion-dollar judgment hangs unpaid, the harder it is to erase the stain. That perception of instability hardens, becoming reality in the eyes of partners and the public. But the most unnerving twist is what this single courtroom victory has awakened. The secret children narrative is back with a vengeance. Vermeer's win hasn't just validated his own story. It's opened the floodgates, and suddenly, every buried claim is crawling back into the spotlight. Vermeer's courtroom triumph isn't living in isolation. It's being treated as the first crack in a dam that's been straining for decades. And now, Letitia Mayer's story, long buried under doubt and dismissal, is resurfacing with a whole new force. Those who've tracked her claims remember the details all too well. Family members swearing they introduced her mother to Jay-Z, the small-town whispers that never went away, and her own social media posts declaring she's been silent for too long. If Letitia pushes her fight into a courtroom with even half the persistence Vermeer displayed, the timing could be catastrophic, because this wouldn't just be one battle, it could feel like an avalanche. And now the uncomfortable question is echoing through the industry. If there are two, could there be more? Everyone remembers the old gossip. The rumors that were once dismissed as tabloid noise. But when $1 billion judgment is stamped in black and white against you, suddenly every old whisper gets resurrected. What once looked like a celebrity's right to privacy now reads like flat-out defiance, like someone with something very real to hide. Every no comment Jay-Z gives only fuels more suspicion that the list of claimants hasn't even reached the end. Behind closed doors, the personal toll is undeniable. Those close to the Carters describe a home under siege, schedules constantly rewritten, appearances canceled or cut short.
I want to ask you about Jay-Z's album.
I think it's genius. Like all of his projects, I thought it was really...
And an atmosphere drowning in damage control. Beyonce's team, legendary for locking down her image with surgical precision, is now said to be stretched to the breaking point, fighting to keep her brand insulated from the wreckage swirling around her husband. But the truth is unavoidable. The more these hidden paternity stories snowball, the less the conversation centers on music, business, or artistry. Instead, the Carter legacy is being rewritten in real time as a messy saga of unanswered questions, courtroom receipts, and secrets that refuse to stay buried. From a psychological lens, this is the nightmare scenario for someone like Jay-Z, a man who built his entire public identity on being untouchable. For decades, he controlled the frame, letting fans see just enough of his past to fuel the legend while keeping the rest hidden behind airtight legal walls. But now those walls aren't being tested by rappers in a diss track. They're being cracked open by people claiming to share his bloodline. And here's the problem every strategist fears. Once the public starts to believe there's a pattern, it's almost impossible to win them back. What makes this moment so deadly isn't just the drama itself, but the overlap. Financial collapse colliding with reputation collapse. Lose one, you might recover. Lose both, and you're in free fall. Picture the headline, Jay-Z scrambling to cover $1 billion judgment while being hit with yet another lawsuit from an alleged secret child. Now imagine if that sparks another and another. Suddenly, the media is connecting years-old whispers to today's courtroom facts. That's not a scandal. That's a slow-motion implosion no publicist on earth can spin into a comeback story. And the silence is deafening. Even allies who've stood shoulder to shoulder with Jay-Z during past storms are suddenly quiet. Industry insiders note that in the weeks since Vermeer's courtroom victory, some of Jay-Z's oldest collaborators have kept their distance, almost like they're waiting to see how bad this gets before they even speak his name. It gets worse. His links to other embattled figures in entertainment are under the microscope again. No direct connection proven, but in this climate, just the association is enough to make corporate partners slam the brakes. And every day, Jay-Z stays silent. Every day without a clear plan forward, gives rivals and critics more space to write the story for him. Across Hollywood and the boardrooms of music, Jay-Z's situation has become a litmus test of loyalty. And right now, the silence from those who once had his back is louder than any diss track ever could be.
This is what I look for. When I see a success, I'm looking for anything
to say that they didn't do it on their own?
Detain it.
Figures like Ye, whose bond with Jay-Z has swung wildly between brotherhood and Cold War, have gone completely silent. Rihanna, one of Rock Nation's crown jewels, hasn't even dropped a subtle hint of acknowledgement. And make no mistake, that silence is loud. It's not just about dodging gossip. It's about dodging the crossfire of a scandal so unpredictable it could ripple through every corner of the industry they share. But while some stay quiet, others are seizing the chaos. 50 Cent, never one to pass up a shot, has turned Jay-Z's refusal to take a DNA test into a full-blown meme circus. His jabs on social media aren't just personal, they're signals to the entire industry. Jay-Z is vulnerable now. The protective shield of reverence that once made him untouchable is cracking, and rivals smell blood in the water. When mockery comes from someone of equal stature, it doesn't just sting. It chips away at the aura of invincibility he spent decades building. What makes this split reaction so revealing is the calculation behind it. The silence of some isn't indifference, it's survival. Insiders believe those holding their tongues may be weighing their own skeletons, quietly aware that a full-scale implosion at the top tier could expose way more than just Jay-Z's past. This industry is a web of shared fortunes, overlapping ventures, and buried secrets. When one giant stumbles, anyone tied too tightly can get dragged into the fall. So every silence, every meme, every carefully timed jab is part of a larger game, one where the stakes are survival itself. In this world, silence isn't apathy. It's self-preservation, a gamble that the storm will burn itself out before they're ever forced to pick a side. Behind closed doors, the real question isn't just about guilt or innocence. It's about influence. Jay-Z's web of power stretches across decades, touching corporate partnerships, award show committees, even philanthropic boards. To denounce him publicly isn't just about making a statement. It's about risking friendships, burning bridges, and cutting off access to the millions that flow through those same channels. Industry veterans know the truth. These networks don't crumble overnight. Even in the middle of scandal, power has gravity, and Jay-Z's pull is still strong. The hesitation to move against him may be less about loyalty and more about fear. Fear of retaliation, fear of being blacklisted, fear of finding out you're next. But the longer this split lingers, the more it fuels a darker whisper that Hollywood's elite play by an unspoken pact. Protect your own, even at the expense of transparency. In this light, the silence of Jay-Z's allies doesn't look like caution. It looks like a coordinated defense. Because if Jay-Z falls, who's next? That question hangs heavy, like a warning no one dares to voice out loud. And here's the irony. In a town built entirely on image, choosing to stand back or step in has nothing to do with morality and everything to do with survival. Some insiders argue Jay-Z's resources, his connections, and his cultural footprint might shield him one more time. After all, we've watched titans in this business walk through scandal after scandal, protected by the very networks now being tested. But here's the chilling part. Those same networks that once propped him up are starting to look fragile. The cracks are there, and if they spread, the question won't just be about Jay-Z's survival. It'll be about how much of Hollywood is built on the same kind of secrets. But this storm feels different. This isn't just one lawsuit or one bad headline. This is a multi-front assault, hammering Jay-Z's legal team, testing the patience of the public, shaking the loyalty of investors, and putting stress on the very walls of his home. It's the kind of crisis that doesn't just hit one side of life. It strikes everywhere at once. Right now, the empire stands at a crossroads. On one path, Jay-Z uses his wealth, power, and connections to buy silence, settle cases, and stabilize the chaos. On the other path, we watch the empire splinter in real time, assets stripped away, alliances shattered, a legacy rewritten not in platinum plaques, but in cold courtroom transcripts. And here's the question echoing across the music world. Will this be the scandal that finally brings down one of hip-hop's most untouchable moguls? Or will the same power that built him, the same network of influence that's carried him through storm after storm, save him one more time? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this story isn't just gossip. It's a fight that could reshape the entire music industry as we know it. Hit that like button, subscribe, share this video, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss the next twist. Trust me, the next headline could drop at any second, and you'll want to be here when it does.